Yeah, I don't care about recording.
We are live.
Are we?
We should be. Hopefully.
Oh, yep, there we are. I see it.
Do we
We're
actually?
live.
You actually see our images and everything? Is it, or is
And
it just
volume. I just had to mute it. I was on the YouTube's on another tab, actually on a whole other browser.
Can you see us?
I can. We're like little on the side.
Okay, perfect. All right, everybody, sit back for about another minute and 40 seconds. We're gonna watch the Path of Exile Affliction trailer just to kind of give you an idea of what we're gonna talk about today.
Wait, will that demonetize us?
No. You can use any of their content on their YouTube stream. You can use. It's awesome. They are great.
That was a
joke.
joke. It was a joke. I really don't care about monetization. I don't know if I can hear it though.
Not sure. Should be able to.
I cannot. I do not. No audio for that trailer.
Can they hear it or just we can't?
No, I can't hear it on YouTube's.
Well, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the trailer because she's
a little bit.
She's like narrating it.
Yeah.
So
this guy stabs thing and then he breaks an oath.
Nope. Is there not a way to broadcast sound, audio, and video? Maybe because it's on
it
video.
Depends on how you're setting up OBS. And hello and welcome everybody, by the way, to Cardboard Odysseys tonight. As you can tell, it's just going to be Matt and I. Unfortunately, Mr. Pat the Popper looks like he'll be joining us in chat, but is under the weather. So it's been a rough holiday season. You know, I got sick for a while. Matt's just getting over something. Pat's got something. So hopefully you all are doing okay. You know, I've been hearing a lot of bugs going around on this holiday season.
Pat, can you not share? Can you not broadcast sound from your computer? Like, can you not play a video and have them listen to it on the stream in StreamYards? Because like nowhere I see where I could like broadcast my sound, which would make sense because then like while Bob's talking, it would reverb through. So I guess that makes sense that it wouldn't work. But then that means that you can never play a video through StreamYards?
Well, you can if you play it through OBS.
Add in an audio output source in OBS. But I'm not using OBS. I'm just using StreamYards.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think so.
I figured StreamYards would have us covered with everything we needed.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can do that through StreamYard itself.
It's weird because I'm looking at the StreamYards website and it just says add the stage, screen share to the stream, and hide the video so it's audio only. Switch to the layout that does not have a share own. In the StreamYards, click present and then video file and choose the file from your computer, add to stage. Sharing desktop audio. You can share audio from your entire desktop easily with your PC components. Okay. StreamYard present, share screen, done that. Entire screen at the top, choose ScreenYard you'd like to play, check share audio. Click entire screen at the top, share audio. I would like to share audio.
Well, then share the audio. Well, I'll give him a little background while Matt's trying to figure that out, in case you haven't been able to tell. The flavor of tonight's stream, besides my awesome, if you want to blow me up here.
Sure. Whoops.
Wow, you just got rid of me altogether.
That's the wrong button.
Go away, Bob. But some Christmas gifts that I got here from a good friend. I don't know if you guys can hear me. It's not magic. Arcana. I got that for Christmas, and he made me this awesome Cardboard Odysseys hat. So Wearing my Christmas gifts. Right? It's like we need to have, like digital debates or something. Because we are expanding cardboard conversations. So I don't think we've ever really stuck to a single niche. Magic has been sort of a cornerstone for us, and we're all Magic the Gathering players and content creators, and we'll continue to be Magic the Gathering content creators into the future. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about other things. We talk about Lorcana all the time. We talk about Legions, Realms at War. We play D&D on stream. Next week, if this is the first time you're hearing it, we have confirmed Mr. Llama SC as a guest for us next week. So please make sure to tune in next week, 7 p.m. That would be the 13th of January, 2024, for an exclusive interview with Mr. Llama SC. If you've played Diablo 2, well, you should know that name. He's basically the Rudy of Diablo 2, at least Resurrected. So pretty big name, very affable guy. And hopefully we'll find out more. I'm trying to save any real deep conversations with him for the stream, and we'll get into some of the questions, and you all can ask some of your questions. But he's a very affable guy. But yeah, we are branching out definitely into more of a digital space at the moment. We've said it before, and how it relates to Magic is, well, in the tumult of today, we're branching out and spending our time, our value is coming from video games. And right now, Path of Exile has the season is Affliction. So I actually have a bunch of questions for Matt. So if you're into Path of Exile, tonight is a night to watch. You get a very newbie like me. Get to pick Matt's brain, who is not only is he a strong Magic the Gathering player, he's just a strong gamer altogether. He's the guy, if you want to phone a friend to really win $1 million, Matt's the guy you want to have on your team. And I'm going to pick his brain tonight after we maybe get to look at the trailer. How's it coming, Matt?
Well, the option that their website shows, where it says click entire screen at the top, choose the screen you'd like to display, click check share audio, and click share. That doesn't exist.
It may not exist in this version of it. You've got the free version.
Oh yeah, I guess it's possible that only the people that pay. I should have just used OBS. I know how to use OBS. I don't know how to use StreamYards. Well, I'll have it playing in the background. At the very least, I'll put us over here.
Why don't you kind of talk through it? Why don't you give like a a Matt take on the trailer, because it looks like it's gameplay footage anyway. So that's a plus.
There is some. I guess I'll mute it because you guys can't hear it anyways.
So
the one thing that they've added is ascendancies on top of ascendancies, which is pretty insane. So ascendancies is like your specialization of your character. It's basically like you pick your ranger, but then your ranger has 3 specializations: the Deadeye, the Pathfinder, and the other one that nobody plays. Pathfinder. What was it?
I don't even know what it's called. I picked Deadeye, but the build guide that I'm following says to pick Pathfinder because it has to do with your flasks and shit. And I don't know. I managed my flasks terribly. What's that?
I'm Pathfinder now. It's amazing. So the thing that's okay. So flasks are interesting. Flasks, it actually might even just be easier just to boot up the game and actually just show you guys just the game.
I was trying to figure out how to install it on a different directory. I was trying to, because I'm down in the basement. I've been playing it pretty much off and on throughout the holidays, and played especially the last couple of days. I've been playing it a lot. I'm finally up to like level 53. Woohoo!
Nice. That's actually pretty good. You know that most people don't get past Act 1.
Well, I mean, I really struggled at level 50. I had to fight some Templar dude who just killed me over and over and over and over in Act 5, I think.
Yeah. So this is Path of Exile. This is your hideout. Hideout is basically a customizable, like you can like actually like edit. Like this is all of these like tags you're seeing. These are all things that are edited. These are like large rocks, the tree trunk, and you can like click on it and you can like scroll through it and change the rocks or whatever. So if you wanted to have like a really cool hideout, you can build your own hideout. So this normally would look like a very flat, plain nothing. Like it would look like this. You see how there's like background? That's what this looks like without anything. and then you add things on top of it, and you can just customize your entire your hideout. It's pretty cool. And one of the cool things is I did not, well, not obviously necessarily, but you can import other people's stuff, so you can just import their hideout, and it just like builds it for you. It's so good. But anyways, so flasks. These are flasks. These things here. These are kind of like the potions that you would see in like
Potions.
Diablo series. These are basically designed to empower your character in some way. Pathfinder, the thing that's cool about Pathfinder is they're very flask centric, and flasks are very strong. Flasks, honestly, without my flasks, my character is paper thin. With flasks, she's practically immortal. Because they add so much tankiness and so much survivability. Mainly because of Progenesis, but this is like a super expensive
I
item.
feel like we should back up a step, because you're already kind of talking on a higher level, and Matt tends to do that. I mean, he already just assumes that we're more than mere mortals here and have an understanding of the game. If you've never played Path of Exile, it's an action RPG that was inspired by Diablo 2. Now, by no means does that mean, because we're going to have Mr. Diablo 2 next week, that it is a clone of Diablo 2. They're nothing alike.
No.
The only thing that's alike is that you run around smashing mobs and get loot to drop. The feel is very different. The look is very different. The gameplay is pretty different. And
yeah, it's very fast paced. It can be slow paced. It's kind of a game that
I don't agree with that. It's pretty fast paced.
What do you mean? Like if you go to the beach, you're not gonna be like bombarded with
only for like 5 minutes while you're level 1, but anything beyond like level 10, it starts coming at you pretty quick.
So yeah, this is your standard level 1 experience. You arrive on this beach. So basically, you're in exile. That's why it's called Path of Exile. The story lore is that your character has been exiled from the great place. The Dominus reigned. Dominus exiles you. I don't know the exact lore of everything, but either way, you get exiled, and this is a place for exile, and you have to basically. The whole story campaign is basically like coming back from being exiled and becoming something of importance. And here's a trade that I'm going to ignore, which I don't like doing, but it is what it is. So you come onto this beach, you get your first item. The item is very similar to a standard action RPG that you would normally see. It has an attack on it, so like an auto attack. That's what the sword means. Default attack: strike your foes with a powerful blow, 5 to 9 physical damage. So when I walk over here and I talk to this dying exile, he tells you stories about past times that had happened or whatever. So then you hold down left click and you attack. Then you get your first thing, and this is what makes Path of Exile so much different than any other action RPG game that I know of. All of your skills that you use are skill gems. Gems can be socketed into gear. That's why you see this wand has two circles on it, and then there's a link between the two. This means that I can take this skill and I can put it onto my gear, and this allows me now to cast Fireball. And then what you do is you never use default attack ever again. Literally, from the first time you get a skill, you turn this off to move only, and you never, ever cast it ever again, which is kind of hilarious. But no skill ever uses default attack. You want to remove that immediately as much as possible, because if you don't, then, well, you'll be default attacking when you're trying to move. And then you're back to Diablo 2 times where you're getting name locked on things, which that's what kills me. So yeah, Fireball is a standard fireball. When you right click, she shoots out a fireball. Boom, fireball. It's pretty simple. If we walk over to a person, we fireball them. It does a little explosion. So there is an AoE aspect to it. And you can see I'm using mana. It costs 6 mana. And if you look on here, it says it fires 1 projectile and it has a 25% chance to ignite enemies. Ignite is basically when it hits them, it deals damage, or at a 25% chance when it hits them, it'll deal a percentage of damage of the hit that it did. So if I ignite them, then they'll catch on fire and then they'll die. That didn't do it.
So this is for those of you that are uninitiated. Obviously, this is the beginning area. This typically, I bet Matt would have already been through this like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you don't actually
really. This is the only like really slow part of the game.
Yeah,
but it will rapidly accelerate And what he didn't say about the gems is as soon as you start socketing them and start using them, they're going to level up with you. They gain experience as you gain experience.
Yep.
And you can see that progress bar down there that talks about it leveling up. And as it levels up, it gets better. So unlike other games, where you get a skill, that skill typically doesn't level up as you use it, right? Like your fireball doesn't level up because you're using it.
Yeah.
Like even Diablo 2, you level up skills, but that's as you level up your character and then you get to put points in it. This just sort of happens, if you want to put it this way, passively.
Yep. Yeah. As you kill monsters, you gain experience for your gems. And as it levels up, it gets more powerful. It gains more damage. Some skills evolve in like they gain maybe I don't think this happens for Fireball, but maybe for instance, the chance to ignite goes up by like 1% when you gain a level. So not only just more damage, but also base radius. So the base radius that the explosion happens, that might actually also increase as well. Then there's something called quality, which additional quality effects for Fireball is this base radius would be increased from either 0 or 0.2 meters. So once you
Makes
get
it a
quality
bigger
on
area of
your
effect.
items, it just makes it a little bit bigger. And then here on this chest here, we just got a support gem. Support gems are what makes the skills change in behavior. It could be as simple as just adding more damage, or it could be as crazy as completely changing how the skill functions in a way that doesn't make a ton of logical sense in the sense that you're normally used to. It makes more sense when you're playing the game and you understand how the skill gems work. But this one has a bunch of text. But basically, all this is saying is that if you socket this with the skill, after you spend a certain amount of mana, you gain a bunch of these effects. You gain increased cast speed, you gain increased mana regeneration, and then your skill does 10% more damage while you have the Arcane Surge buff. So we would socket that into the skill gem, and this would
But
be
it has to be linked
linked.
in
Yeah,
order
you
to
see this little
support
gold
the
link
base
in between the
ability.
two. You can't just have it in the item, it won't do anything unless they're linked together. And you can double check that it's linked by when you hover over your skill gem. You see how it's highlighting the other gem on the actual item itself. There's like they're both being highlighted. That means that they're linked together and they are being supported. You can also see down here at the skill, it has a little N. They have like different letters for different skills. And if you put a socket into your item and you don't see an additional letter show up, that means that it just didn't work, or it's not linked, or it's not
Yo,
supported, something like that.
welcome, DJ.
So then
So,
you continue to run.
and this is all happening like right from the rip. I mean, this is your introductory experience. One of the bigger problems that I hear from different content creators and I guess you could say sort of community folks is that Path of Exile gets unwieldy quick for the novice player, and I would honestly agree, since I've been playing for a week, that if you go in just trying to learn the game natively, it's not very intuitive. Like there's a lot of tooltips and a lot of help, but it's you don't get to respec. So if you don't make the right decisions right away, you can really brick your character right from the start and have a very bad experience. So one of the things that they recommend is that you do some homework before you start. You find a class and a build, and then go check out what's called Path of Builder, and that could be a quick way to getting in to picking, if you want to show them, Matt, the really daunting looking skill tree. But what makes it undaunting is by using some third-party tools and knowing what kind of build you want to go for before you
Yeah,
even start.
so we just got two icons that popped up. One is like the world quest tracker, basically. It's where you can actually see all the waypoints that you have unlocked. It's your standard typical UI. It has the little hotkeys you can press to go to your hideout, or when you unlock more things, the menagerie, mine encampment. There's a lot of the game's been out for over 10 years, so there's a lot of like every time they do a month, they do a new league every 3 to 4 months. And when they come out with a new league, it's basically like a ladder reset in Diablo 2, if you're familiar with that, where everything gets completely
Any
wiped,
Diablo game.
everything goes to standard, which is like your I don't know, in Diablo 4 it's called the Hero Realm or something, Eternal Realm maybe. And basically you still have all your gear, but you're not playing on the new league that just came
The
out, or the
ladder.
new
Yeah.
season, the new ladder. But anyways, so the skill tree that he was talking about, which a lot of people basically they just
So brace
uninstall.
yourself if you've never seen this, folks.
Yeah,
Just hold on.
It is pretty insane as far as like there's a lot going on here. So
Can you zoom in just a little so they get like a sense of scale here, like
that's
where
why
you
I'm zooming
start?
out. This is all the way out. So yeah,
Yeah,
you'll notice here I have an image here that's showing my character. This is the witch.
the
And you
class.
also notice that there's like this circle here that has like the 3 attributes. And then on here left here, you'll see another one here, another one here, another one here. These are the starting locations of each character. So if I zoom in here, this is the witch's starting location. And if you really want to know what intelligence does, you hover over this, intelligence, and same thing for strength, and same thing for dexterity. So your attributes actually do attribute things to your character, standard action RPG thing. But then as you get your first skill point, which you get about 124 of them, in order to put them on this tree, you have a choice. You have on the left here, increase spell damage and maximum mana, or on the right here, you have maximum energy shield and mana. So mana is just like your thing that you use to cast spells. Energy shield goes over your life. So if I click this and hit apply points, you'll see that I have now 15 energy shield and life. Energy shield is pretty cool. When you take damage, it takes it first from your energy shield and then from your life. And then after you stop taking damage for 4 seconds, your energy shield recharges back to full. So it's similar to, or it's kind of like a shield over your health. That's basically the standard concept. But as Bob was saying, that like right here, I've put in the skill point. I can't right click it. I can't remove it. There's nothing I can do at this current state. I can't remove it. However, you actually can respec, and it's very easy to do so. There are quests that give you refund points. You'll see at the top here when I hit P, there's 0 refund points, but there are quests throughout the campaign as you play. You get a total of 22 respec points from the campaign. And then you also have what really makes this game completely different than any other game is you have your currency here. So the currency here, the one that we'll talk, this is here, Orb of Regret. These are the items that can just drop. And then they are currency in the sense that they are used for trading, but they are also used for purposes. Like, for instance, this one grants a passive skill refund point. And you see here, I have 795 of them. So I could respec my character over 7 times, and I can just refund the entire skill tree and redo an entire skill tree again. So you can actually refund, and you can even refund your specialization as well. So if you picked a Deadeye,
if I could interject here though,
sure,
not for the new player. Like, yeah, you're going to get a few points here, and you can backtrack a little bit out of it. However, 795, that's a lot. Like, you're not going to get that in a short period of time playing. So you want to do a little homework. It's not permanent, and yes, you can respec, but it's not like World of Warcraft where you just say, "Oh, I want to change my spec." It's not like Diablo,
it's
where
not as easy. No,
the whole thing. It backs out one selection at a time. It doesn't respec your whole character. It just changes one decision.
Yeah. But these are playing for any length of time, you'll get enough of these. And of course as well, there's a trade website, standard trade website where you can trade chaos orbs, which are mainly like the dollar. We'll call it the dollar, or gold. It's the currency that most people trade with.
The common trade currency.
Although this league, the currency that people are trading with is divine orbs, which is, and if you're looking at my currency and you're going, holy crap, that's a lot. Yes, it is. This league is the best league I've ever played. I've actually played this game for over 10 years. One of the reasons why we're talking about this game right now is because I've just been doing that. I've been playing Path of Exile for, like I said, 10 years. But since this league came out, I mean, I have a level 100 already. This one here, this is max level 100. This one level 98. This is it takes a decent bit of time to get to level 100. It's kind of like the old Diablo way. Well, it's not as long. If you imagine Diablo 2, where it like used to take a long time to get to level 100 or 99, it's like
it would take a really long time to get to 100.
It's probably like half or a fourth of that time. You can do it very quickly if you kind of cheese it. But if you're just playing the game like I did, I didn't cheese it in this character. It'll probably take a day or two of like blasting maps, like a lot. Like I'm talking Giga Juice, being a real gamer,
Like, I really want to understand maps. I really don't understand that yet, and the labs and lots of different things. I'd like to know in the comments section for those of you. I don't even know what that is. I've never seen that screen.
Look at this.
If
This
you guys
is a
want to
pass
see some
tree as well.
content, we'd like to give you different various levels of content of not just this game, but we Pat and I have talked about it over the past couple of weeks about giving some digital content to you guys as well. We're not abandoning cardboard. Don't feel like we're about to make a massive sweeping change. More like we're adding to it, right? Because nobody that plays Magic only plays Magic, right? I can't imagine that there's anybody out there that's the only thing they do with their spare time. Maybe Nikachu. But at any rate, this is this is just going to be added content, and it's kind of like the soup du jour of things that we're doing, and we'll probably look at even things like maybe Diablo 4 Season 3 when it comes out. Some of the things that the community at large will be into. So I'd like to know how much you guys would like to maybe even have Matt do some because he does great deck techs for like commander decks for our channel, obviously, if you've watched some of that. And he could probably get into some of the tech pieces, bite-sized videos for you guys if you want to see that. Would love to hear from you guys if you'd like to start seeing some of that. By the way, Path of Exile, the biggest thing it's got going for it, in my opinion, besides being a good game, is it's 100% free to play.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, it's free to
play.
No,
don't get into the stash tabs like what you got. I get it. I'm just saying, if you want to get started in playing, and they give you a reasonable amount of, unlike World of Warcraft, they give you a reasonable amount of storage right at the start. Like you don't, you can get into the game and decide if you like it before. I know, but what I'm saying is, don't be intimidated by the monetary aspect of it. It's relatively cheap to buy stash tabs to begin with, on top of which you don't really need them to have a meaningful playthrough of the game. But if you enjoy it, then why not toss them a few bucks? It's not a pay to win game.
Yeah. So I'm in the microtransaction store right now. This has all kinds of just there's a lot. All right. Okay. It's standard action RPG game where you can change the way your skill looks. You can change the way your character looks. And you'll look at my character now. This is a full microtransaction. Like this is just like a cosmetic tab. So if I want to like change the way my body armor looks, what do I have right now? Miracle body armor. So if I want to put like Beastmasters on, you'll see that my chest piece changed. If I take it off, I have just whatever the heck whatever lightning coil looks like, which if you notice, the actual image does look like the actual character, which is not always the case, which is kind of funny. But that I hate the way that chest piece looks. But you can have like cool chest piece with like little hand things. You have character effects that like change like the aura around your character. You can add like a little. These are all artificial. Like they do nothing for your power. Like you cannot buy power for the game.
Can't buy power, but I'm not going to say they're all just cosmetic, because the stash tabs, which is where I would recommend spending your money if you just want to put as little money and get the maximum amount out of the game. The stash tabs start off much smaller. I mean, there's enough to start with to get you going.
Yeah, I think you get 4 of them, unless they've changed how many you get. I think you get 4 of these tabs, if I remember correctly.
Yo, hillbilly.
These are just your standard basic storage tabs.
You get 4 basic tabs to begin with that you can't customize or anything, but it's enough space, right? You can see
you can use
like 100 spots.
Yeah, you can use. Well, it's 12 by 12, so 144. Yeah,
144, and you start off with 4 of those. So I mean, it's enough to get you in the game to where like you can get started. Don't worry about the financial aspect of it. It's very cheap. Plus, Path of Exile 2 is coming out. Very excited about that. I'm sure we'll be doing that.
Oh,
but I just wanted to point out, like, there's no gotchas. When we're saying it's 100% free to play, it is. It just makes it more convenient to add your stash tabs. Outside of that, it's not needed. There's no pay to win here. Do you know if Path of Exile 2 is going to have the same mentality?
Yes, 100%. Actually, what's the cool thing about that is if you start playing Path of Exile 1, and all these microtransactions that I have here, all my body armors, all the weapons, all of these that I have acquired over the last 10 years of playing, they will all be transferable to PoE2. So it's not like you're going to like miss out. However, I don't know if they've actually ever answered this question if stash tabs will transfer over as well, because that's kind of big. Because if you notice here, I have a ton of stash tabs. I've spent.
I'd
this is a
imagine they
lot of
wouldn't.
money on
I mean, they
stash
need to
tabs.
bring money in. So
I don't even know if
that's the biggest, I would say,
PoE
gotcha financially, but it's not even really a gotcha. Like, you'll just naturally go, all right, I'll drop
Well, yeah,
20
right
bucks.
now there's the weekend stash tab sale. If you spent $20, you would get quite a lot. If we look at, let's see here, in order to
I think
upgrade your premium stash, upgrade to a premium stash tab, this allows you to post things on the trading API. Basically allows you to like trade items. You can trade items other ways as well. Like you can just trade an item, but you have no way to like advertise, hey, I have this item besides like in-game trade chat, which nobody uses. Maybe they do. I don't know. But anyways, upgrading to the main, this would cost $1 to upgrade your stash tab to a premium stash tab. It allows you to change the color. It allows you to name it, and also allows you to.
but only one tab. You have to buy
one
one
tab
for
at a
each
time.
tab.
Yep, one tab at a time. If you want to add an additional stash tab, you're looking at where's a normal stash tab? I think it's like
It was up
$1.50.
top.
There we go. Stash tab bundle, 6 tabs for $1.10.
Yeah, like I said, it's
Or is that
pretty
$11?
inconsequential
It
for
actually might be
the
$11.
game itself is free, right? So if you're paying
Yeah.
$1.10 to really, expand your play experience, well, that doesn't seem so ridiculous.
This is your best bang for your buck. I recommend like.
Actually, I wouldn't do that. I would go the other way. There's another one that's it's 6 premium, for $1.65.
Well, it's actually
55
$16.
cents more.
Add a zero to this.
What?
This is $16.50. Just add a zero, and then because every
Oh,
right
yeah,
now
you're
I
right.
have
I'm sorry.
yeah right now I have
I think that's
points.
a great way to really update. So $16 to really change the way you play your game. I think that's where I'd go.
Premium stash tabs, and the premium stash tabs allow you to customize them, a la changing the color, changing the name, making it public. The normal stash tabs can do this thing where they're it's called affinities. Basically, if I were to like if I were to hold control and left click my scrolls of wisdom, you notice they didn't go into here. Normally it would go into whatever tab you're looking at, but the affinities, they're saying that you can tag specific things. So currency, I have a currency stash tab. My scrolls went here. These are where my scrolls went. And here, for instance,
but anyway, I wanted to address like the financial aspect of the game and how it's, to be honest, fairly insignificant, and it's not like a gotcha pay to win kind of game.
So this is a guy that saw an item of mine on the trade website because of a premium stash tab, and he's giving me 3 divine and some chaos for this bow that I have. So I whisper him, I say, thank you. And now I have 3 more divine plus some chaos. And this is the premium stash tab that I have available. And when you hover over each of them, this says asking price 5 divine, asking price 4.5. It's down at the bottom there. And then when you want to if you want to price an item, you just right click it. It's pretty simple. And it gives you even a drop down of anything that you want to put out. And then this just goes to the actual website, the actual trading website, which it is outside of the game, which is one thing that people they don't like. But this is off of the main Path of Exile website. So if you go Path of Exile here, this is the main pathofexile.com. You'll see here trade website. You just click trade. I just have it bookmarked. And so this is the trade website. Now it takes a little bit to get used to. You'll learn over time. But if you're looking for like a unique item, like shavs, for instance, once you start typing, it'll autofill. And then you're just like, okay, well, I want this chest piece. I click search. And then this is everybody that has posted an item that wants to trade. And you can just click direct whisper, and it'll whisper them in game. And then so it's semi-seamless. And you can scroll through, and actually you can even see how many are listed. There are 2,436 of these chess pieces listed for a various amount of money. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
What I'd like to point out though is that you don't have to start getting into the trading aspect and all of that early on. Like, sure, I'm level 53 or 5 or whatever, and I don't even understand it enough to really go poking into it. Haven't really needed it up to this point. Give yourself, if you're going to get into this game, allow yourself a learning curve. It's going to take time. It is far more intricate than the other ARPGs that I played out there. And the only thing I would say contrary to how great it is that there is Path of Exile 2 is supposed to come out this year. I don't know when. Probably more towards the end of the year is what I'm hearing.
Beta is going to be in June, early June,
Yeah.
early July, earlier June or July, one of the two.
But is that going to be an open beta or is that an invite
No.
beta?
Nope,
Yeah.
invite only.
Yeah. So again,
there's a chance that I'll be in the beta because I was in their Ruthless beta. I participated in that. So because I've been playing the game for over 10 years, there's a good chance that I'll be in it because, like I said, I've supported them. I've given them. I don't think it matters about how much money I've given them, but I've given them thousands of dollars over the past 10 years of just for microtransactions, supporter packs. I've got a poster in my bedroom, or not poster, it's a cloth atlas. This is called the Atlas map. All it is just the display of like all the maps you've cleared, and as you clear them, you get Atlas points, which is another passive skill tree that we don't have to talk about. But they love.
Can you talk about what a map is? Because I hear that all the time. I still don't even know what it is. They drop.
Yeah, so maps. I have a map stash tab. This is one of the premium stash tabs. Otherwise, you would just have them, wherever. So I can take a map. So here is a map. So this is the Bone Crypt map. If I go over here and I put it in the map device here, if I hit activate, it's going to open portals to this map, this realm. And this is the end game system of Path of Exile. One of them, I should say.
So that's why I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so you're not going to see this until you beat the campaign. You actually get this later on. One of the cool things and one of the awesome things about Path of Exile is that the currency that drops, these currencies here, everything in here is a currency. This allows you to manipulate items as well as your maps. So for instance, if I ran this just as it is, this would be a very easy, basic map. So this would just be no modifiers to any of the monsters, no modifiers to your drops. This is just the map. So you'll have a very plain experience, but it's going to be very easy. So if that's what you're looking for, you run it normal. A lot of hardcore players, they just run white maps because they're looking for specific things and they don't care. But if I wanted to make it harder, I can use an Orb of Transmutation, which is very abundant. I can do that, and I can now slaying enemies close together can attract monsters from the beyond this realm. This is a old league mechanic called the Beyond League. Basically, as you kill monsters, their blood pools, and if there's enough blood that pools, it spawns portals of beyond monsters, and it spawns like packs of more monsters. And those monsters are like very demonic and like cool looking. But
welcome, Decoy. It's been a while. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, it's next week that we'll have Mr. Llama SC. Like I said, he's a pretty big name out there for the Diablo 2 content. But we're doing well, and we're kind of expanding probably since the last time you popped in.
Yeah,
we cover lots of different things. We're covering a lot more than just Magic, and even more than TCGs. We're covering board games, Dungeons and Dragons, video games. So it's a lot more diverse content. And tonight we're covering a game called Path of Exile, which is actually free to play. So Matt's got a wealth of knowledge in it. He's been playing it for a decade, and I'm just starting to get into it.
Yeah. So, and if you notice that when I made this blue, there's more like we'll call them tags or modifiers. So it used to just say map tier 1 and nothing else. Now it says item quantity plus 10%, item rarity plus 6%, monster pack size plus 4%. I can then add another modifier to it. Now you'll notice that those numbers went up. Players can't inflict exposure. So there are some modifiers on maps that can quote unquote brick your build. Like if your build relies on adding exposure, this would be a bad thing because you can't do that. Obviously mine doesn't. I'll throw the map in here and I'll show you just out of, I'm not going to run the map really, but just ignore what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. Just don't look at that. So I click activate, put the portal in, click activate, and now you'll see there are portals that open up. I click it to go in. And now I am in the map. So the cool thing about the Affliction is you now have this portal that goes to this realm where you do suction. You'll see that these wisps are being sucked into me right now. If I move, they'll actually suck in. I have these purple wisps here. And this is the cool thing. You follow the trail, and it'll lead you to these events. So like here, this is a vendor. You look at the thing, you're like, okay, do I want any of? You don't have. I'm not going to explain what these are. This guy really wants this item. Okay, here. I got you, bro. So there's another trade. So the wisps here, they're a thing. It doesn't matter. this isn't a detailed explanation of what the game is.
No, tonight's just meant to be more introductory. So we'll have to rein in Matt every once in a while. You can't help it; his brain immediately goes into minutia and detail. Because he's very detail oriented. But as you can see, and what you'll learn, so just as a forewarning, the trade system is integral. Like you can't ignore it. You must participate in it if you want to really experience the game. You cannot do it purely solo self-find. You can try, but you're going to be way behind the experience and probably not complete a season before it's over.
Yep. So I'm just gonna run through. Here's the monsters. So you'll also notice that my character does a lot of things when I right click. So yeah, this is the gameplay. This is the gameplay. Yeah, I'm actually a Pathfinder. Pathfinder's busted. It's actually probably in my opinion, it is like the best in the game. And right now I'm just running through the darkness trying to end it. There it goes. So when you reveal enough of this darkness, you'll
Can you hold on a second? Hold on before you go right down there. The wisp. Show the wisp count, because I didn't recognize that until probably a week into playing. That it'll give you your wisp counts that they juice the next map that you go back into. Like it's in the map already or a location.
Yeah, any zone that you're at. You can go into.
And so you're running around in this little sub zone, collecting the wisps that he was talking about, or sucking them in, and it gives you your count down at the bottom. And you really can't control when it ends. A minor degree, but it ends when it ends.
You can. You actually can. You can log out. It sounds stupid, but so if for instance, they do really need to add a button to like end they normally do. It's weird. So when I was actually listening to an interview, I pulled my microphone out of thing. I was listening to an interview about what they regret, and I don't know why they haven't changed it. Normally they do add in things as they think about it during the league. They'll like change it, but they wanted to add a button in where you can just kind of like, okay, I'm done, open the portal, get out of here. But what some people are doing is they'll go exit to character selection when they have like too many wisps, and then they'll go back into their map, and that pulls you out of the wisps. Which it's like,
do you lose the wisps that you gathered?
Nope. Nope. What you'll see is, I think it'll probably do the explosion when I move back in. Oh, what the hell? This isn't what happened last. Oh, because I opened a portal. That's why. So it takes you back when you rejoin the map. It takes you back into your portal. So if I didn't open a portal for that trade, I would be in the map here. But anyways, so you can just run. You can either go to the portal or you can actually run into the darkness to go back.
This is the addition that he was talking about for this particular latter season. Is this those little hole that opened up that he went down into to collect the wisps? That's new for this latter season. Like, so that didn't exist in the game prior to this season. And what it does is
please go core. Please go core. It's not going to go core.
Oh, you mean you want this added to like the basic 100%. Functionality of the game?
Oh yeah, this is the best league they've ever introduced.
But what it does is it buffs all the monsters in the map that you pop back out into. Like if you rewind a few seconds and you see the explosion that he did, basically it's taking all those wisps and spreading them out to the rest of the zone, and it's buffing some of the monsters. And why would you want to buff the monsters? Well, I think I'm not sure if it gives them more XP, but they're tougher. All the buffs definitely make them stronger, but they also do beneficial things for you, like more loot, better quality loot. So it like in terms of Diablo 2, I can't think of one in like WoW, but other games that have the ability to increase magic find, that's essentially what you're doing in these. What are the zones called again?
Maps.
No. This the
oh, this is the Eternal Forest. Zone. Yeah, this is the Eternal Forest.
I'm just saying these little subzones are like affliction zones. What is that what it's called? Yeah, where you're building up your wisps.
Yeah, I'm getting what you can actually do. I'm gonna try to get some yellow.
Okay, there you go. Dank Muffins. That's a new name, and welcome, by the way. Yeah, it buffs to make the loot better. We all play these games for the fat loots. We want to pull that slot handle and have the good shit drop. And by jumping into these little affliction zones, it makes the loot wheel go uber.
It's actually insane. This league is 5 times more rewarding than any league they've ever introduced. It's actually wild. So, anyways, I wanted to get a yellow wisp, but I didn't find any monsters that drop yellow wisp, which it is what it is. So, if you hover over the wisps down at the bottom, it actually tells you exactly what they do. So the blue wisps, they give the creatures, every monster that's empowered by this wisp. When you leave the zone, they explode and they enchant random monsters throughout the zone. That could be map bosses, it can be monsters, whatever. But this makes the monster that gets enchanted with this blue one. It gives them damage reduction, more critical strike chance, more critical strike multiplier. So they'll do more damage when they crit. But they'll drop additional currencies based on the amount of primal wisps you had. So the more wisps you get, the harder they are, but the more rewarding they are. And the purple one is they get more damage reduction, they get additional projectiles and more area of effect. Projectiles and area of effect, the combination of those two can be very rippy because, say, that fireball example that we had before, where you shoot one fireball, they explode. Now, what if you have 3 fireballs that all hit and explode? If the area is large enough, you'll get hit by 3 of them. That's more painful, obviously. But in return, you get item rarity as well. Item rarity meaning that you'll drop more like rares and uniques. So, and then there's even more to explain with that. There's a yellow one that gives quantity. Quantity is like the number of items dropping, and you want quantity. So, for instance, I'm a Magic Find character partially. I don't have a full-on Magic Find, but I actually have Magic Find gear. So these gloves, the main thing you'll want to look at down at the bottom, 10% increased quantity of items found. Another stat here on these boots: 20% increased quantity of items found. The Magic Find gear sucks as far as their stats; they suck. But the Magic Finding part of it, that's the trade-off. You have way better Magic Find, but it sucks. Like the gear only has 10% movement speed boots. This goes up to 35%. So I'm slower, but I'm gaining more items. And if you can overcome the downsides of those items, that's when you start getting, that's what you want to get. You want to kill as many things as you can with Magic Find gear, basically. And these gloves, normally these are like level 0 gloves. Like a level 1 could use this. So obviously they're not great for end game gear. Like they don't give me like any damage basically. But that 10% quantity, as long as I can kill the monster still, I can sacrifice some power to gain more loot drop. And then of course I have it on rings, and you want to get it as many places as you can without like sacrificing too much. So it's like a balancing act of how much
It's the
power
same
you can
thing with
sacrifice.
Diablo 2.
Yeah. So like I said, this game was very inspired on Diablo 2, which is awesome because I love Diablo 2. It's one of my favorite games.
So that's this season. But a question I have for you, Matt, do you know, like you said, you don't think it'll probably go core, meaning become an inherent part of the game, but will it get retired to like whatever the, I don't know, the hero realm or whatever it is you talk about
Standard?
that?
Nope. If it doesn't go core, it won't be in the game at all in any fashion.
Oh, that sucks.
Here's the thing. I'm like I have to. I'm praying. Maybe I'm. This is a term in Pee-wee community. They say copium. I
A
might
lot
be
of communities say copium.
I might be huffing the copium, but I hope this league goes core. It adds so much. Not even the wisps are not the wisps. Whatever. Even if the wisps don't go core, I know that I'll be sad. But the things that I care about this league, tinctures are something that takes place in your flask spot. It's not a flask, but it takes place in your flask spot, and it enhances your character in a way that nothing else has done, or very few things can do. So for instance, this tincture, all damage can poison. Normally only chaos damage can poison. So being all damage can poison, you can craft an item that has a bunch of different elemental damage, and that elemental damage scales higher than chaos damage would normally be able to. So because all of my damage can poison, I'm able to poison better. We'll just say that. This bow, by the way, is insane. I crafted this bow. This is like a 250 divine bow. This bow's insane. I love this bow. I actually crafted this from the ground up. It started with just bows can attack, bows can fire 2 additional arrows, and I added on all of the affixes. So that's another thing. So when you hold Alt on an item, it shows you what the affixes are. Affixes are, you can have 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. Just think of lines on the item. That's how many every item can have 6 lines. And each one of these I had to craft onto that in a very particular way. I'm not going to go into detail. The crafting in this game is
Crafting is like,
extensive.
yeah, it would be hours long explaining crafting, but just suffice it to say that Path of Exile has a very, very detailed crafting system. So the
Amazing.
only way I could even explain it close to any other game I've ever seen would be as if you've played Star Wars Galaxies, which had a like stupidly deep, maybe EverQuest 2, very involved, long, in-depth crafting systems that are very specific. There's like a whole like there are lots of videos out there about it. So if you want to learn more about crafting, like,
Yeah,
but so
it's
just
similar
suffice
to
it to
like
say he crafted these items himself, and that's no trivial task.
yeah, this item took me about 100 divine to craft. 100 divine is a lot. It's a lot of currency. Like I have 400, but like I've been playing a ton, and I've been juicing the hell out of my maps. So it's like you'll see, like yeah, it is insane. What I'll do is I'll play. I have a video that I can play of. I won't like. Well, you can't hear the sound
There's no
anyways,
audio.
but yeah, no, but it'll be gameplay basically is what I'm saying.
So narrated at
Uh,
least.
Yeah, I'll explain what's happening. I think I have like a juiced map. Okay, here we go. So I go into this. So this is what we call juicing. So this is a brand new map. This is tier 16, which is the highest tier. I go into the wildwood, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to follow the path. You want to follow the wisps. The wisp will lead you to events. Events have like the most chance of having the most juice, because they'll have like you'll see it open up into an area. You'll also see these little orby things. These orby things either open up and reveal more area, or they extend the amount of reveal you can do. So this right here is an event. You'll see a bunch of different rares. You'll see the rares have they're
He
enchanted by
means rare
primal wisps.
monsters.
Yeah, rare monsters. The monsters have their own modifiers as well. There's normal, there's unique, there's magic, and there's rare monsters. Rare monsters have like these affixes that like say what they do on them, but Path of Exile is such a fast-paced game. It's not very easy to like hover over and read what the rares do all the time. Most of the time, if you stop dying in this game, you will die. If you stop moving in this game, you will die. If you stop dying, you'll also stop dying. But if
That's
you,
true.
yeah,
That's like it's
so
true.
my
Now, if
character,
I could
however,
interrupt though, what you'll
sure.
notice is I run into a problem, and maybe it's just the build that I've made with ballistas, and that's that I have a hard time finding the monsters. There's so much Michael Bay going on the screen. I don't even see the monsters. Like I'm just moving my cursor around to try to get a name to pop up because I can't see a damn thing.
Yeah, so there is a lot that there's a lot of interviews that we've talked about with clarity, visual clarity, and they're aware of it. They are trying their best to remove the visual clarity. But it's difficult if you think about it, because they sell microtransactions that flavor the game. Like my character right now is using a mic. You'll see like the purple explosions. Normally that's green. And as they
Well,
explode, if you slow it down, there's like a
can you bring up
galaxy effect.
Ryan's comment there? If you think about it, the act of dying, you're not dead yet. So if you stop dying, you're dead. That's the end result of dying is dead. So
You've stopped dying. So you could
yeah,
be
if you
alive.
stop dying, you did. That's the end point.
Well, if you aren't dying anymore, you could be alive as well.
You could be, but it's also the logical endpoint of dying is dead.
Stop dying. But yeah, so you'll notice here I have 3,404 yellow juice and 1,288 blue juice. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm going around the like right now I'm done.
That is the formula, Richie.
I'm done with the area, the affliction area. I'm done with the wisps. However, you can go around the edges and you can gather more. Right now, I can't reveal anymore, but I can still. There's some around the edges. I'm getting all the crumbs.
But if you travel into the darkness, it'll boot you out.
Yeah, it'll suck you out. So I'll fast forward until I leave.
But it is a fast-paced game. I mean, like he touched on something there. So, depending on your play style, this is very much like an ADD game, is what I call it. There's not a lot of resting in the game. Like once you start an area, once you start going through something, it's like non-stop Michael Bay explosions until you finish the area. Like there's never like Oh, I killed this pack. Let me go over and kill this thing. Like in World of Warcraft, we'll just say that pick that one for sure. You typically see one monster off in the distance, and you say, "I'm going to go shoot that thing." And you go over and you kill that, and then there's long rest periods between. So if you enjoy more non-stop type action, PoE is definitely a good game for you.
Like, look how many monsters are on the screen right now.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what's going on the screen.
I mean,
I don't
realistically,
know how
I
you
don't
get their
either.
life bars to pop up there. I don't have life bars.
It's an option. You definitely want the life bar.
That's probably what I need to do because I don't know where the hell the monsters are. Like I was like, okay, well, where's the monster? What's hitting me?
You don't need to know that. You just need to know when they're dead.
Yeah, but see, you just mash buttons. You don't target anything intentionally. You just run around mashing buttons.
I know what I'm doing, but I mean, like I said, I've been playing the game
for
for
there's no
thousands
way
of
you have
hours.
time to even point at one and click it.
You can see where my cursor is. That the pink. I'm specifically
You're not
targeting
a mob. You're targeting an area.
Well, yeah, because I have an area of an attack. Like I don't have to target them specifically.
Yeah, well, but that's the whole game. The entire game is basically area of attack. Area attacks.
For the most
Area of
part.
attack. But it is a lot of stuff going on the screen for you. So,
and you also notice my character
slowed down there, Decoy. It's a like, and if you had the volume on, it would just be sound like a thunderstorm.
Well, I have an item that's called Headhunter. Headhunter allows me to steal the rare buffs that any rare that I kill, I get all of their buffs. So, for instance, on the screen right now, I'm hovering over Shiverlash the Corrupted. He has poisons, ice prison, and he has a hinder aura. So when I kill him, I get all of his buffs for a minute, and that's true for every single rare that I kill, and that lasts for a minute. And you'll see here this orange symbol here I'm hovering over. I don't know if you can see the cursor, but it says 18 and it has 59 seconds. Those are the number of Headhunter buffs that I have on me right now. Headhunter is the most broken, awesome, best item in the game as far as like when you're doing juicer content, we call it. When you're like having like tons of rares, the more rares the better, because that's the more powerful you get. So you get to a certain point where your character gets so strong that you kind of break the game, and they want you to be able to break the game. They like that the item is overpowered. It's a very rare item. It costs a lot. You know, like if you don't just find it, which I've never found it on the ground. I've always bought it.
So Decoy put up there just for reference for people. So you have this, and honestly, I think it's kind of slowed down a bit. It's not sped up. Final Fantasy, if you've never played Final Fantasy VII, is a turn-based game, meaning nothing happens until you select an ability, select your target, and then click the button to do the thing. And until you do that, like you could get up, go make a sandwich, take a dump, make a coffee, and it still hasn't done anything until you execute. This game, if you sneeze, you might die.
One of the interesting things about this game is if you notice my health bar here on the bottom left, see how it's orange, but that's a microtransaction. So normally it's red. Just imagine it being red. You'll see that my health is half full right now, where the globe is filled in, but yet there's a line there as it goes down. And if I hit enter or if I hit spacebar to play the game, see how that line is going further down, but yet the bar is staying full. And if you also notice above my character, this green bar here, I have a life bar there. If you notice, that's completely full. So technically, my life is full. However, there's a thing called it's called progenesis, basically. What it does is it takes the amount of damage you're receiving and it staggers it across 4 seconds. So as long as your health that filled in portion doesn't go down, you cannot die. So you'll notice here, I'm constantly in a state of like fighting the blood debt that I'm taking from the damage that I'm taking. This is what makes my character so tanky, is that Pathfinder scales that damage that you take, so you're actually healing. So you'll notice that when I start getting to the thick of it, this clusterfuck of rares, I'm getting hit. I'm constantly in blood debt. So if that ever runs out, I die. You'll also notice the green bar above my health, seeing it ping-ponging like crazy. There are times where like it gets chunked, but yet You know, who can tell what's going on here? I don't. I'm just holding right click on the
I
big
said that
fucking
earlier.
monster.
I look at the screen and see. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what's happening right now? I don't know half the time. But let me translate for you in the audience. As long as he stops dying, he won't die.
Yeah, as long as I don't die, I don't die. It's pretty simple. You just hold down right click
It's pretty
in the pack
simple.
of monsters. You build a character. See, I built this character. I don't want to die. I hate dying. I've died, but like I hate dying.
I think most
Especially
of
when you're
us don't
high
want our
level.
characters to die.
Sure, but when you're high level and you lose experience, because you lose experience when you die. You'll also notice the game is going at like a very slow pace. When there's a lot of things, when you're juicing really heavily and there's like a lot of stuff happening on the screen, the game can like bog down, and it goes into this we call it the turbo state. You'll notice watch how fast everything gets. That's all the loot, by the way. Also, by the way, this loot on the ground, this is with a loot filter. So that's one of the things that the Diablo really needs to add to their game. I don't understand how they haven't done it.
Well, the game doesn't technically really have a loot filter either. It's a third-party piece of software.
No. There's a default loot filter in the game. This is theirs. This is item filter. This is in the game. They don't
you
have
to configure it in a website. It's not in the game where you configure it.
correct. Yeah, last epoch you can configure it in game. Otherwise, you have to use a website. You can either use a website or you can either use the website and have other people have made the loot filter. You can use their loot filter, or you can make your own if you'd like. That's what I've done here.
And what a loot filter does for those of you out there is that there's going to be a lot more shit, in essence, what he's saying, laying on the ground, but he doesn't want to see it. It's garbage, so he doesn't care about the loot that's there. So what a loot filter does is it highlights loot you would care about. So you can see and so all that stuff was just loot that he cared about.
There we go. So this right here, see all this crap? This is like it's starting to clutter the screen. It's crazy. There's a lot of crap here. So now this is with the default. This is with no loot filter. So now I can go with their loot filter, default loot filter. I click it, and there's like half the stuff is gone, which is pretty cool.
And you could set it up to even filter out more. And that's
still cluttered.
That's essentially what the loot filter does. Unfortunately, the loot filter doesn't pick it up if it's possible.
No, it does not.
You still have to click on shit to pick it up.
They're very against auto pickup.
What is because you're getting into some of the detail about the game, but what's nice for the new folks out there, and what you should really be taking away is that it's highly customizable. This is truly a passion project kind of game. That the people that are building it are absolutely playing it. It is not purely just a moneymaker, which is probably the biggest problem with Diablo 4 right now. Is it very much feels like they're trying to maximize the money that they're getting out of Diablo 4, whereas Path of Exile feels like, honestly, they care more about the play experience and catering to truly what the masses want to play.
Oh, they listen to feedback a lot. A lot of leagues start out a little shaky, as far like for the high end gamers that like play this game like myself, that play a ton. Within a few hours, we can tell like, yo, this part is like you gotta change it. It's not right. So we go to the Reddit forums, we complain. Not me necessarily, but that I'm just using we as like as a community. We go to the Reddit forums, we complain, and then they'll address that feedback based on the data that they have available and feedback. And
so
then they will try
Magic the Gathering players out there, completely 100% the opposite of what WotC's doing.
So I want to click this button. So this is the loot filter that I'm currently. We're on the standard default. This is like their loot filter. So the loot filter that I'm currently running filters out about 90. I would say probably 99% of the items. So when I click this, everything's gone. I don't even know why this Divine Mana Flask is here. Probably because I'm high level in a low level zone. So when you see this loot explosion here, this is filtering out 99% of the items. I actually do have a picture of this is wild. I have a picture of
it would probably just be a whole screen full of nothing but tags of items.
Yeah, I have a picture of a screen that I sent my buddy, giving him an example of how crazy the loot is without a loot filter. So this right here, my friends, is a screen that doesn't crash the game when I hold Alt, which is there's a button you can press that turns off the loot filter. And if there's too many items on the ground, the game crashes. which is hilarious. This survived that, but this is what the filter is stopping from you from seeing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to like move. Um, one thing I will say about this is a problem. Um, there's too many items that drop. There's too much stuff. This bogs down the game. The game goes into this like I was saying, it goes into this like hyper state where everything's like super fast. Like right now, like this is in like turbo mode. Like everything's like fast and like it warps the time. Like it because the game is trying to like catch back up to what it was lost behind. Whenever you go through items, it feels like you're like walking through mud.
What they really should do, since clearly it interacts with the game, in my opinion, is that the loot filter should prevent the loot from dropping that's undesired.
What they did add recently is called item culling. So it's an option here: hide filtered items on the ground. So, basically, what it does is right now the items aren't rendered on the ground, but they're still there. So, like if I hold Alt right now, I can still see everything, but they're not rendered on the ground, which has helped. But it's still a problem. There's still way too many items dropping.
Oh, Diablo, understand, they have a very different philosophy over at Blizzard. They don't want anything interacting with their code, period. And it's not just Diablo 2, it's Diablo 3, Diablo 4. They are very anti the public driving the game experience, right? They don't want the players to dictate to them how the game should be run.
This is one of our buddies.
So I mean, I mean, I'm probably gonna have to bounce here pretty soon, and we've got Superfast Tortoise is out there doing a Commander game tonight. We wanted to start introducing you guys to more of the digital content like what Matt has showcased here tonight, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. It really, really is. I'm sure Matt would love to sit here and talk all night about Path of Exile.
I might do some live streaming. Like realistically, I want to live stream the game every now and again. If people are interested, I'll do it. I'm not going to live stream.
I say do it anyways. If you want to do it, I'm. And let me explain that to you guys in the audience. So just so you're aware, if we get outside of our lane, which you tell me what the hell our lane is, the YouTube algorithm loves to punish you for not sticking in a single lane and put blinders on. Meaning, if you're doing Magic the Gathering content, not just Magic the Gathering content, but Magic the Gathering opening content. Otherwise, it just won't even expose our channel to other people that might enjoy, our vantage point on gaming, really, which is what we do here, more holistic gaming. So what Matt's concern is that if he starts live streaming, that it might punish the algorithm for some of the other videos that we put out there. And I don't care. Honestly, you guys are what makes this. It's not MTG Gaming, Bob, anymore. We've gone through some iterations. I think you missed the whole pure MTG phase of our journey. And, I don't think we're going to change the name again, but we may start changing up some of the content.
Yeah, and like Pat released a video recently talking about Terraria that did very well. Actually, funny enough, I love Terraria. Terraria is definitely top 5 favorite games. If I wasn't so engrossed in Path of Exile, I would like play Terraria with Pat. But right now, I don't want to stop playing PoE. Which is, that's a good thing. That means like basically I want to enjoy. I don't think there's going to be another league like this in a very long time. I've listened to podcasts where the devs have talked about this league. They do not like how overpowered it is. Here's the thing that happens in Path of Exile. There's a lot of smart people in this game, okay? There's a lot of big brain people that play. And they break whatever Path of Exile devs put together. And I don't think they thought that this was going to be as rewarding as it was. There's no way. They typically rein in. I'm surprised they haven't nerfed it. It's actually insane. There's heavy inflation. It's kind of wild. So it's a little strange that they're just letting it happen. But the cool thing about it, and this is things that I think that they should do more often, like push the envelope, because like Diablo, they're too safe. Diablo 4 is not a bad game. I actually do enjoy it. It's just kind of boring. It's kind of just, I don't know. There's not very in depth. Like you don't have like if you look at my passive tree, Bob's not even going to understand why I have circles on it.
Nope.
Like there's circles on the passive tree. There's I'm doing things on the passive tree that like it's more in depth than you need to know. But what I'm saying is that they do these things that, for an example, there's this item that allows you to socket into a gem or jewel socket, and it allows you to in a circle, and the circle can change its radius, and it allows you to put skill points into the item or into the socket, into the slots without being connected. Normally, you have to have a connection, right? Like these yellow lines. But this gem here, a very rare gem, can be socketed into this jewel socket, and then anything within this ring I can allocate without having any lines connected to it. So it saves you a lot of skill passive points. I don't have to get all of these passive points leading up to this. I can just get this. So stuff like that Diablo, I think they need to test like cool interactions like this where yeah, you have this really cool passive tree, but what happens if you did this? Another thing you can do is you can socket a jewel socket in here, and then say it's this one here, Eternal Youth. It'll allow you to socket or to allocate skill points based on the radius of this node way across the other side of the skill tree, but it gives you access to those points because each part of the skill tree is like sectioned off based on your starting character. So the ranger is very ranger focused. Stuff like that.
Let's discuss some of what the skill tree does. I know they saw the first one that you gave the example for the sorceress, but the skill tree, many of the passives, that's what gives you your attributes. Like some of them just give you straight flat, bonus to life, bonus to dexterity, bonus, like, and that's what these paths do. So you get to avoid having to put, like, if you've already got 150 strength and that's the max that you need to equip your gear, then you really don't need to keep picking more strength passive nodes. So that's what he's talking about, being able to skip wasted skill points just to try to get to a desired end point, because you generally have to connect the lines. And that's what he's talking about here.
These are called notables. Notables are your larger circles. And they are
and
just
in general, you get that skill point when you level up, right? That's typically when you get these skill points. There are other bonus, like events when you do certain quests
total. If you're level 100, you get 124.
Right. It's when you level typically is where you get most of your skill points.
And the campaign gives you 22 to 24, depending on your
So it's not something that you keep getting while you're playing. Like you eventually hit the cap.
I am level
capped.
I get no more experience. I cannot pass go. Don't collect $200.
Thanks for stopping in.
But yeah, so your skill point usage matters a ton because you're limited on the number of skill points you have. So having a jewel like this, which allows you to get the very specific nodes that you want, it opens up a lot of possibilities to get more things.
So what you're getting at is that you feel that a game like Diablo 4 could benefit from taking a slightly different approach, by, from what I hear from all accounts. Now I played it and it wasn't bad, and it's not that's not a raving review for dropping $100. It wasn't bad, but it just didn't hook me. Right? There was nothing that drew me, that made me want to come back and log back in. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't exciting. I wasn't looking forward to the next thing. And even watching, like, I get more from watching like Riker play or some of these other bigger players for parts that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't have any interest in the end game of repeatedly killing that same boss over and over again, hoping for that stupidly rare thing that's just not dropping. And I got to farm for 25 hours to get the materials to be able to open up the dungeon to go hunt this one boss. That just does, like, that sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry. And I work for a paint company.
Yeah. But yeah, Diablo 4, like with their Paragon board, the Paragon board is kind of cool, but it gets to the Diablo series in general gets to this part where, or gets to this point where like everything is kind of solved and there is just a better way of doing it, because the actual like Paragon boards don't change. They're not, you can rotate them, but that doesn't really change anything. Like it when they first announced it, I thought it was really, really cool. But then as I played it and just kind of like looked around on builds and stuff, and I'm just like, you're gonna play this one way and it's gonna be the best way, and then that's the game. Like
you're either meta or you're not.
My character has so many choices. I have respect and change different skills. Like if I want to like change from caustic arrow of poison, I can take that gem out. I can go, these are all the different skills that I've changed. So I can go tornado shot. Tornado shot is pretty cool. And as I shoot, it shoots out. It basically it hits the ground and spirals arrows out of it. So that right there is another way that I can change how I play my character. I can do this here, Scourge Arrow of Menace, another different skill. I shoot it out. There's little pods that shoot on the ground and they spit out arrows. And that is again another way that I can change how my character plays. And that's just the skill changing. Like that's and
So
all of
in essence, what Matt's getting at is that the customizability of gameplay
it's
is
wild.
nearly endless.
Every passive point matters on my skill tree. Every single one of them, they really can't. Like I can change it around and do different things, but like the way I have my character set up, if I like removed like one of the skill points, it could fuck my entire build. Like it's very intricate. It's fun. It's pretty wild. And like if you go to like
more in depth. Now the problem, the converse side of that is for somebody who just wants to log in for, you've been working all day, you only want to log in for 1 or 2 hours. Honestly, I'm going to say this probably isn't the game for you.
Good luck.
It's not the type of game that you can play lightly, where Diablo 4 definitely has that. It lacks the depth of gameplay. Sure. But if you log in for an hour, you'll probably take a full season just to get to the end of the season, right? If you're a dedicated gamer who loves hours and out, when you're playing 14, 16 hours at a whack on a Saturday, this is more the game for you. If you're the more casual player that only likes to play for a couple of hours, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, those are for this type of action RPG. And I've heard good things about Torchlight, and I know they just started a new season.
It's a great game, yeah.
I don't know how involved it is. I know one of my friends gave me a pass at it, and I played it, and honestly, it just felt like a slower, clunkier Diablo 3 when I played it.
It's very beginner friendly. It is. You can basically do whatever you want, and everything will work for the most part. You have to know.
I mean, we want to start bringing you all different kinds of gameplay. What I would really love to see Matt do, and I mentioned to it, so now I'm just going to throw him straight under the bus. He loves very complex games, and one of the board games that he plays is called Gloomhaven. You want to talk about daunting? Yeah, just watch some like setup and gameplay of Gloomhaven. It's not something you're going to do in a half an hour, right?
Yeah, we play Frosthaven every Thursday night, just about.
So I mean, it's months long playing, a board game to get through it. And I'd love to see him do, like some of the synopsis of it, because I don't have. I mean, I could go over to Matt's house, but I don't really have the time to commit to something like that. That's a real commitment for a game. Whereas I can go over on a Friday night to some other friends and bust out like Clank or something, and an hour later we're done with it, maybe an hour and a half. So all different kinds of games for all different kinds of folks, and hopefully we're going to bring a lot of that to you guys. I'd like to start covering some of the board games as well. It fits into the cardboard world, and giving you sort of an overview of it. I don't know how we're going to do it like technically, but I would love to see Matt break down some of that. I'm telling you, I'm having to rein him in here tonight. I know it's probably driving him absolutely batshit crazy because he's passionate about this game. He's a wealth of knowledge about it. He's very good at it, and I highly recommend that if you have any interest in Path of Exile, hit him up. Hit him up on our Discord. Hit him up on put questions here in our chat, and feel free to reach out to him. You're welcome, Matt.
I forgot to mention. Every single gem you see on this page is a skill.
Why don't you have a gem
that you can play? Every single one of these are all different skills that you can play. These are all different skills you can play. And then these are all different support gems.
Oh, those are purchase tabs. That's not your inventory.
Yeah, this is Lily Roth. So when you finish the game, you can actually have NPCs in your hideout. So she's an NPC that you can trade div cards to, and then also purchase skill gems from. It's just very convenient.
When did div cards start dropping more frequently? I have 2.
They drop fairly often basically, think of it this way. The campaign is a tutorial of how to play the game, and the game doesn't start until you get maps. Maps are like the game. That's when you start getting into the Atlas. That's when you start getting into your Atlas skill tree. Like this is another. It's funny because we thought it was a joke. This is fairly new. This is the Atlas passive tree. This was one of the best changes they've made to the endgame system in a very long time. And this allows you to fully customize your experience and play the game how you want to play it. And this is what makes Path of Exile amazing, is that that's kind of the game. Like, the game is very, very customizable to let you play the game how you want to play it, which is something that most games don't. Most games, they tell you how to play their game. This, like, for this passive skill tree, like, they're very simple. If you don't like, hold on. If you don't like ritual, you can click on this node and it says your maps no longer have a chance to contain rituals. If you don't like blight, you can no longer spawn blight, but all of your other stuff that you like can have a higher chance of spawning. So that's like, these are all the league mechanics that have been in the game over the course of the time. Excuse me. And if you don't like them, you can get these nodes here and it'll actually just make them not happen. It's fucking amazing. Like, no other game that I know allows you to customize your experience as much as Path of Exile. And yes, it takes a long time to learn the game and understand everything. And I still don't understand everything. The game requires an actual, like, degree to play. And I'm not even joking. The amount of knowledge that I've gained from this game is more knowledge than, like, maybe not a bachelor's degree, probably an associate's degree. Like, it would take years of studying the game to learn everything. And I don't know everything, and I've played the game for 10 years. And I used to stream this game, and I had a podcast on it on Twitch and a YouTube channel called The Paleo Gamer. And maybe you guys know. Maybe this video gets to somebody. But either way, the game is awesome and amazing, and they don't always get every league right, but this league right now is the most fun I've had in a very long time.
Hype.
And after we get off this podcast, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to log off here, and I'm going to log onto this character called Sanitary Bot, and I'm going to invite my friends to the group, and we're going to do what's called group magic finding. And I have a character that is designed, another way to customize your gameplay. This character right here is designed specifically to do no damage. I don't do any damage at all. What I'm designed to do, and I'm slow as hell because I'm not linked, but what my character is designed to do is my character is designed to juice the hell out of my friend. So I link together. This is called Soul Link. I link together with them. I get their movement speed. I provide them 15 auras. So I'm increasing their armor. I'm making things blind around them. I'm giving them more life regeneration, more cold damage, blah, blah, blah. A ton of different buffs to juice them so that they can wear all the Magic Find gear. And then we join up, we go into a map, and stuff rains. The currency and the loot, it's just another way to play. And that's what I'm saying. The game isn't perfect, but I would say it is leaps and bounds better than any action RPG game on the market. And that's saying something, because it's just some devs that started.
I'm going to temper that with what he's looking for. It's the best. There would be other people that clearly, some of you out there, this is not going to be a game for you. If you don't want to invest, and you do have to spend I'm a middle of the roader. I'll never be like Matt. But I'll give this a fair poke and a stroke. But there are going to be others out there that will look at this and go, no, not at all. And I tried to point out like some of the differences in like what to expect and kind of like what kind of game it is. But it certainly does take an amount of fortitude that many people just don't have, or they just purely don't have the time. This is going to be a time sink for sure.
Yeah.
But to Matt's point, it is a very well-designed, fairly well-oiled as far as games go. If you're looking for a very rich, in-depth way to play, and you like the action RPG style, and you can stand without having a seizure looking at the screen constantly exploding and flashing, this is probably a game for you. And if you like that rich, like for example, and I'm going to break this down, like as far as gaming goes, there are games that when we get together really just off-putting to me, like I don't want to say truly off-putting, but I can only handle so much Cards Against Humanity in a group before I am just bored to tears. I don't just want to sit around and roll Yahtzee. There's not enough depth of game. And conversely, I just don't have the ability to play. There's Twilight Imperium is probably the most massive board game I've ever seen. that I think they tell you when you sit down to play, you need to have anywhere between 8 to 14 hours to sit down and play one session. So there is a middle ground between those. This game leans more towards the, Twilight Imperium, Gloomhaven, very rich, very rewarding, very in depth. Definitely not for the knuckle dragger mouth breathers out there, kind of game. Because you have to study. You got to go out and check out websites and watch videos. But at least there's that option in the gaming world of a very rich, very deep, not really a significant financial investment, good game out there to play. So if you've never played it, it's been around for a decade. I highly encourage you to check it out.
Also, I'll add on to that. If it feels overwhelming and it feels like it's too much and you're like, I'm done with this game, one, I understand. Two, you might come back and you'll enjoy it a little bit more the next time you play it. It might take you might bounce off it a few times. But if you bounce off it, you don't enjoy it, wait until Path of Exile 2. One of the things that the reason why they're doing a Path of Exile 2, even though this game is getting more and more successful, Path of Exile is not dying. It is growing. This league has the most concurrent players they've ever had. The game is doing better and better every time they release a patch. But the reason why they're releasing a Path of Exile 2 is because of everything Bob said. The game is complex and difficult, and there's so many years of knowledge you have to have already acquired in order to enjoy everything the game that they keep adding onto it. And as they keep adding onto it, entry level to or barrier to entry is so much more difficult. Path of Exile 2, they're taking all of that into account, and it's designed to kind of give the players that have always wanted to try PoE, but they don't have enough knowledge to play it, or they don't want to put in the work. It takes a little bit of work, to understand it. PoE 2 is going to be designed in a different way. It's supposed to be more fluid, more momentum based. The combat's supposed to be very intuitive, and if you go look at the PoE 2 like video demonstrations, they've got guns, kind of. They're changing it. So one of the things that they have WASD movement for this new character called the Mercenary. An action RPG with WASD movement seems very strange, but they're experimenting. They're trying to push the boundaries, and but like I said, it's going to be more condensed, basic version of the game at the start. So if you go to play PoE 2, it's still going to be a complicated game, but I think you'll have way less to learn. It'll be way easier to pick up, and it's supposed to be more intuitive. They're trying to take everything they've learned from the barrier of entry of PoE 1, and they're trying to re-release it into a second game so that it's not as daunting. So if that sounds more appealing to you, PoE 2 should be coming out within the next year or so.
I'm going to piggyback on that and say that if all of it is still too much for you, stay tuned into us. We're gonna give lots of different things a shot in various different games. We're gonna have next week. We're gonna have Mr. Llama SC on here, and Diablo 2. While it can have some complexity to it, it's nowhere near this level. It certainly has a lower barrier of entry into playing. It'll be a little more intuitive. It's a bit of an older game, and we're gonna review other things like Terraria. We're gonna, we're looking at things like Minecraft. We're going to get into more digital content, and beyond the digital content, we're going to continue to follow TCG's other cardboard ventures, like possibly Gloomhaven, the upcoming Diablo tabletop game that's coming out. So, check in here. We'll hopefully hit all different kind of flavors. Matt, Pat, and I are all three very different kind of people. So things are going to appeal to all three of us in different ways. And hopefully at some point, if Path of Exile is not for you, maybe Diablo is. If Diablo is not for you, maybe we'll even get into things like World of Warcraft or, other board games. And hopefully tuning in here, you'll get at least some exposure to different types of gaming.
And so we talk about one thing of Magic the Gathering related today. One thing I thought that was very interesting, and I'm not entirely sure how it happened. I kind of need to analyze the data more. But one thing I've done recently is I scanned all of my rares and higher into the TCG app, and it allows you to just kind of have a collection, have like a breakdown of your collection. And when I added it in at 11/29, so this would be November 29th of this past year, my collection was worth $5,689. And I expected, as time goes on, which is what we've been seeing, the value of cards have been going down, right? Well, now if I click on my collection and I let the price load, my collection is worth, come on now, $6,189. So I'm not entirely sure why or what exactly has went up in value, but it would appear that I've gained about $600 in value, which is pretty impressive. However that happened, I'm happy for it. But I'm glad to see that
Mine's going in the opposite direction.
it seems like MTG is going in a better direction, and we'll see if that continues to happen. And I'm still enjoying the game. I've got to build a deck here probably today or tomorrow. There's a new the new league standard thing that we normally do that I do in Jake and Joel or Magic's Discord. And this month's deck is going to be $500 budget, and we have to use a commander called Rukramal. She's a 5-color commander. Rukamaramal, biologist. She's like a 5-color commander that basically turns everything into whatever creature type you choose. So the theme of the month is $500 budget. You have to use her as a commander, and you have to pick a tribe and play at least 20 of those creatures for the tribe, which is interesting. I think I'm going to do merfolk or dragons. What do you think, Bob? What tribe would you play if you had to pick? Would you do elves, maybe? I know you played elves. Well, I did. You see, here's the funny thing. My brain was going that route. I was trying to find the tribe with the least amount of creatures in it so that I can just build a broken good deck instead of having to go tribal. So I would just pick whatever has the least number of tribes, and you have to play all of them if they have less than 20. So you just pick the one with the least, and you play the least number of bad creatures, and then you just build a good deck instead of trying to play a tribal deck. But I'm like, it's kind of cheesy.
I played Changeling Tribal.
Yeah, they don't count.
Why not?
Change because that's part of the rules. Tribal spells from the same tribe, not counting changelings, because that'd be too easy. I did that during Marathon month, and they didn't like that because I just played changeling tribal, so I got the benefits of everything.
I'm probably cheesy like most everybody else. I like slivers.
I did think about doing slivers because
short of that, I'd probably go Eldrazi.
She even has an effect of that you pay mana and tap her probably, and you create a sliver / whatever you name. So I did think about doing slivers because slivers are strong. It's very it's hard not to do slivers. Eldrazi, yeah, it's another good one.
And in all honesty, if I was to go into like a third, it would probably be dragons. Just because dragons are cool.
I did think about angels as well. There's a lot of broken angels, and they all fly, and flying wins games. I was kind of trying to think of
probably there.
Combos are allowed, and because combos are allowed, I kind of want to play a tribe that has combos built into it.
Do you know what I would do? Being that it's a soup du jour? Dinos.
Yeah, I also thought about dinos. One of the problems that I have when I build a deck, the thing that inspires me to build a deck is the commander. So when I'm not able to pick my commander and I have to build my deck around a commander that I'm not really too enthused about, I haven't even built the deck, and we were supposed to have pods Monday. I don't know what the hell happened. Like Bobby Z fell off the face of the world, and he doesn't exist no more. But pods haven't been posted yet, and now we're just I think we're waiting for more people to sign up, but nobody is. So I don't know. The league's dying. If there's enough people in our YouTube channel that we can make our own league, I'd rather just do that. Let me know in the comments. It's probably too late in the video. Nobody's watching, but yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys at least came in, checked out the game. Yeah, this game is a very passionate thing for me. Not every league is a banger, but I'll tell you what, this league here, this is, like I said, the most fun I've had in a very long time. Hope you guys at least try it out. It is a free-to-play game. Just give it a whirl. If you don't like it, that's cool. I'll do some live streams of it if people are interested. I also have a really cool idea for a video introducing the history of Path of Exile, where it started and where it came to, or where it is now. And how it's evolved over the course of the years. I think that'll do pretty good, but it'll take a lot of effort to do. So I kind of want to gauge the interest of our followers before doing it, because it's a lot of work. So I don't know. We'll see.
And if you just want to stumble and bumble around and not know what the F's going on, you can always look me up to play a little with you. And
sure,
probably would irritate the snot out of Matt. And I'm also willing to play, Diablo 2, and I'm sure if you hit up Pat, you'll find some of us that will at least be able to get your toes wet in some of these different games. Hit us up. Let us know. We love interacting with you guys.
One thing I think that would do a pretty good. We should do a video of you and I playing through the first act, just Act 1. We record it, and as we progress through the game, you can ask any question you have about anything that we come across and maybe that'll give people a good idea of like the starting experience. And we'll
It
play
would
at your
definitely be a very beginner experience.
we'll play at your pace, and we'll just kind of just experience the game.
Slow.
Well, but that's fine. That's what you honestly, you're probably the average PoE player. Which, not to say that the average PoE player takes, I think it's something like, I think he said 30 to 40 hours to play through the campaign, something like that. Something like it's insane to
Oh,
me
then I'm
how
not average.
long.
I'm already behind.
You're already what?
I'm already behind.
How long is it taking you to get to level 52?
Oh, I don't know, probably 20, 30 hours.
Okay. Well, level 68 is the time where you're like done with the campaign, roughly. That's like Act 10 is the last act, and I don't know what act you're
That's
in.
not really fair either, because I played it, another actual 2 characters before this, and then probably have another 20 hours in those. So, because I was like, all right, after this,
Well,
let me
yeah,
start over. Let me start
just
over.
that one character.
So,
Yeah, so if it takes you about 40 hours to get through the campaign, that's about average. It takes me about 3 to 4 if I'm playing with a twinked out character, and it takes me about 6 to 7 hours if I'm playing on a fresh start with no twink gear.
yeah, the hardest part, honestly, is like it's just like in Diablo 2 as well, and probably Diablo 3 and 4 for most people. That when you're just starting out, a huge portion of the game is picking something up, going, "What's this? Is it any good? Should I sell
Yeah,
it? Should I not?" Like, your personal loot filtering takes. It's not the gameplay that takes forever. It's like, well, shit. What's this? What do I do with
it's fu
this?
it's funny that a lot of the times when people first start playing the game, they'll get these orange items that'll drop, and they'll like sit there and stare at it. They're like, "Oh, this item's insane." And
I've
like for
equipped all of
me,
them.
I'm just like, that's garbage. Like, why are you looking at it? Why did you link me this? Like in my brain, I'm just like, why? I understand like the idea of like, where do I have the crap? Like one of the items
I
that you
did
get,
pick up a bow that, like a
I
level
don't have
5
it.
bow that is it's recommended in part of the builds, even as like an end game bow,
Oh,
which is surprising, and I still have it equipped. The
you're probably
quill something
talking
or other.
Quillrain. I don't have. Yeah, normally Quillrain's in here, but it's one of the best leveling bows for like another one is Stormcloud as well.
That's what made me switch from the sorceress to the ranger. By the way, or the witch to the ranger. Is that bow dropped, and I'm like, let me give it a shot. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is pretty
Quillrain is
good.
really, really good because it makes you do. It didn't even make you do less damage. Before it was just straight up very fast and had no penalty. Now it has a damage penalty because it was busted. They were using it for everything. But yeah, it is very strong. And you have items like this, like Twink. This is just a Twink pair of boots that gives you a 50% increased movement speed. So it makes going through the campaign very, very quick. Once you go through it once, you could blow through it way faster. Once you know where to go, how to get the quest done,
That's
you
another
can.
thing is, like trying to figure out the questing systems and like,
Yeah,
what the fuck does this mean? And
yeah.
I
The
totally like I
questing.
never even did the labs. I literally just did my first labs today at level
Oh, you.
54.
Yeah, see
Right.
the Aspirant's Plaza. That's another thing that that's the specialization, and he won't even know what the hell this is. So this is this character's specialization. One of the cool things about this character, this is the Scion. I don't even know if you have it unlocked. I think you have to beat the campaign first. But the Scion, she starts in the center, and when she
You're not seeing
specializes,
anything, you're just playing, by the way.
oh, I stopped presenting. Share screen. This one, the last thing,
We
and then
said we were gonna leave, but
yeah,
joke's on
last
you
thing.
guys.
Yeah, last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. So this character here, she starts off in the center. She's the Scion, and what she does when she specializes, she gets to pick like parts of every other character as she specializes. So like you'll see here, like this is the Templar, Marauder, Witch, Shadow, Ranger, and Duelist. So I'm able to pick like all of their ascendancy, kind of like a little bit watered down, but like smashed into one. So for instance, I'm the Pathfinder and the champion. So I have like a lot of the cool things that is from Pathfinder, but it's all condensed into one partial ascendancy, and that's the ascendant. They get to just pick, more like partial ascendancies. So another way of customizing the game, being able to, you know, and then
Let's just say that this game is highly customizable, folks,
yeah.
and it
There's
takes quite
also
a bit of
there's also jewels
investment to
that
get
allow
into it,
you
but it's
to
a rewarding game.
get another one. So yeah, it is very cool. Anyways, let's I could talk literally all day about this game.
Like I said, I feel bad about kind of reining it in, but we do have just like a 2-hour show here, and
Mhm.
So again,
I told my buddy
expect to see more content about PoE moving forward. Probably most of it coming from Matt. I think Pat did an excellent job with Terraria, and we'll probably have some more content from that upcoming. And I'm not really sure what I'm bringing to the show other than contrarianism, but I think it's time that we just kind of broaden out, and especially we don't want to keep beating the Magic is going in a bad direction drum. That just it doesn't feel good for any of the three of us. So we don't want to keep doing that on the show. We're happy to address any questions you have about Magic if we're aware of it. But I'll be quite honest with you, I'm not paying much attention to like what's upcoming. So until I hear the words that we're addressing the reprint issue, nothing really matters much to me in the Magic arena. I'll still play Commander Raids with you guys anytime, but I need to hear that before I can really get invested back into Magic again, the way that I have been in the past.
I'm still having fun, but yeah, I mean, I'm just a player of the game. Like I'm not a collector really. Like if these cards weren't going back up in value, I'd probably have already sold them. I really should sell I should sell cards like Shieldred. Shieldred's like $86, which is not going to stay. They're going to reprint that card
until it gets reprinted.
Yeah, they're going to reprint it almost unless they happen to just randomly. Like 2024.
Also, your Dockside Extortionist foil etched went up.
Oh, did it? I already sold it, but did it? That's cool.
I
mean, it's out of print now, right? So it makes sense.
So, I mean, there's going to be corner cases for Magic. I'll just say this: like, it's a tumultuous time. There will be cards that go up in value. There'll be some that go down in value. Most of them are going to trend down in value because of the whole reprint engine. So, that's kind of where we're at. Plus, they're increasing the price, in my opinion, significantly for the barrier for entry, going from about $100 a box to $150 a box. So I think that's also going to be problematic for a lot of people with the play boosters that are. What's the last set? Isn't Ravnica wait, what's the last set that has the draft booster? Is it Ixalan?
Yeah, because the Murders at Karlov is the first play booster experience.
So, expect that upcoming. So, I would caution just, don't sell everything. Don't buy a whole bunch of things. I will throw this out there because it's just what I'm hearing more and more all over the place. And that's that now is the time to buy. I do not agree with that. I think that a wise person would sit back on the sidelines and go, okay, well, I'm going to watch you buy and we'll see what happens with that. Don't FOMO out. If these other people got in on a great opportunity, I still think a much safer and better bet for your money would just, if you're doing it purely to raise money, put it in a traditional investment, put it in a bank account. That's what I'm doing. My extra cash, instead of going to Magic and cards, I'm just beefing up my cash reserves that are getting 4.5% in the bank right now. That's just the wise thing to do. Compounding interest on your money just makes a whole lot more sense than putting it into cardboard because you might miss an opportunity for investment. That's silly. I would say that you have a much greater chance of getting burned by that. So just put your money in a bank account. Start playing games like Path of Exile, even Diablo 2, like on sale. It goes on sale every couple of months for like $13. What's the cost of Terraria? I don't know if Pat's still here.
It's like $15, maybe 10.
I mean, we're talking about very low barrier of entry kind of games that for, in that cheapish range, you can get just as much enjoyment for your money, maybe even more. And while you wait it out, watch and see what happens in the cardboard world. And be happier in the end if you've let your money grow, even if Magic outpaces it magically by buying the product and the product 10x's, which I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I doubt that it's going to outpace regular solid accounts that are earning interest, financially speaking. So from a Magic perspective, I think if you save your money and in the future buy what you want, like imagine if you bought, I don't know, we'll just pick like medallions, right? If you were buying medallions 2 years ago, you were paying premium prices for them from the Tempest block. And now that they've reprinted them, you can get your medallions fairly cheap. Same thing with doubling season. And I'll bet you 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, you'll be looking at Shieldred instead of $80, Probably be able to pick up a copy around 25, 30 bucks. Just shop wisely with Magic right now. Wait, pick your spots. It is not a great time to just go hog wild into it. So that's what I'll say about my Magic segment. And it's not bashing WotC, but I'm just advising caution and try to find some other things that you can sink some time into to entertain yourself.
Yep. And Terraria, interestingly enough, is one of those games where, for me, I'm kind of a graphics snob, and I was hesitant to try Terraria for the longest time because I'm like, it's got such bad graphics. In my opinion, it's like gross. Why would I ever play that game? It looks like trash. I had a buddy. I played it with him, and it actually became it was very addicting. So if you don't like the graphics,
Minecraft
like
is sort of in that
myself,
vein.
yeah, Minecraft as well. Like I was very hesitant to play Minecraft. The only reason I ever even entertained the idea was because Bob and Pat wanted to play with me, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. And I was actually impressed with not necessarily the game, but it was better than I thought it was. But I still enjoy Terraria way more. But I will say that both of them have their downsides because of how old of the game they are. Similar like D2R or whatnot. So it's still an insanely good game, and you'll definitely see at least a playthrough or at least some play from Pat and I. We'll definitely get together sometime whenever I'm done being addicted to Path of Exile. Probably within the next week or two, I would imagine.
Well, and that's the thing to mention about things like action RPGs, including D2R, D4, Path of Exile. These games are not like World of Warcraft, right? Where they tend to run their course, like meaning, okay, you've run through the current content and you've scratched that itch, you've gotten to where you want to be. The gains, if any, become very minimal, and they're going to be reset anyways. Most people in these types of games play ladder, right? Very few play the eternal formats, if you will. So understand that when you're putting this kind of investment into it, you're investing in your ability to learn how to play Path of Exile or D2R. And then when the ladder resets, you're back to square one. But now you have the knowledge of how to get there faster. And as time progresses and future seasons come along, they typically add some sort of flavor, some sort of new content. And now you can get there a little bit faster because you're more familiar with the system, I guess you could say. These are more system style games where you learn the Path of system, Path of Exile system, or a D2R system, D4 system. And they'll make tweaks and changes. And they'll be good to play for a time. And then you go on to other interests. So they're great games for something that you're not going to invest, a lifetime in. With that, I'm pretty much wrapped up for tonight, folks.
Yep.
Please make sure you tune in next week if you're watching this. We have a wonderful guest, Mr. Llama SC, very knowledgeable about D2R, one of the big names in that space if you're familiar with it. I mean, Diablo 2 Resurrected. He's been around for years, has a big following. He's essentially like in the vein of like a Rudy for his avenue. The D2R. If you play the game, Mr. Llama SC. So he also has some knowledge about PoE as well, and he's developing his own game, and we'll talk more about that next week.
Yep. I'll make sure to premiere it so it's like scheduled ahead of time so people are aware.
You're also zoomed in on me.
That's fine. It's all you. It's the Bob Show.
It's the Bob Show. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us your time this week. Go over and check out Super Vast Tortoise. I believe he's doing some Commander tonight. Make sure you watch some of our videos. Give them a like, a thumbs up, spread the word, and please help us bring more viewers in next week. Would love to give Mr. Llama a great viewership welcome.
Yep. Later, guys.
Peace.